Athletes and fans around the world, welcome to another episode of Primetime Muscle. We're back, all three of us in one place. I'm Tim Wilkins. Tarek El-Gindi.
I'm disappointed. I'm frustrated. I'm angry. I thought we had eliminated Chris Cormier from the show, but unfortunately, they brought him back. And you know, I'm going to have to talk to my accountant. This has to be a tax deduction for me. You know, I mean, look at the way he's dressed. Look at the way he's dressed.
Casual Friday.
You know, this is not casual Friday.
Chris, welcome back.
You know what? If you didn't look like a super heavyweight Ernie from Sesame Street, I would get a little frustrated too. You know,
a super heavyweight
Ernie
from Sesame Street.
Can you get a side by side with Ernie?
You know,
yeah,
the Ernie haircut.
Listen.
No?
I'm just holding.
That's not the Ernie haircut.
I'm just holding a little bit of water, and I'm missing a goatee. I could very well be Enrique Iglesias.
Yeah, I can see that.
Well, guys,
good to see you anyway, pal.
Good seeing you.
You were away. Good to see you. You were away, and actually, it is the not just you being away, but where you were is the topic of our discussion today.
Because I'm always in the place to be.
And you were in the front row of the place to be.
Always in the place to be. Don't you realize this by now, guys?
We're starting to get the hint.
All right.
So I just thought it was a country without extradition, but he was actually in Prague for, to me, one of the most exciting events of the year outside of the Olympia, the Pro Open debut of Chris Bumstead.
Absolutely. Chris Bumstead, you know, I like to give a little bit of a historic background of Chris Bumstead's career. Something you probably don't know.
Green Trunks,
you're gonna include yourself.
2009.
You're going to include yourself.
Chris Bumstead turned pro as a bodybuilder, not as a classic physique, at the NPC North Americans. In that event, he won the heavyweight class. The guy who won the super heavy was Justin Rodriguez.
Ooh. They
both went to the overall, and Justin Rodriguez outmassed Chris Bumstead considerably. So, Chris has had an experience prior to having his tenure as Classic Physique Champion as a bodybuilder where he was outmassed. He is familiar with that. He knows full well what it is to face guys that have more density than him.
Well, Chris, this is the one thing, as someone who was in the front row, and you were taking pictures and sending them to us, and dude, check this out. You were given a heck of a play-by-play.
Oh yeah.
So, and I appreciate you because I wanted to be there so bad. But he blew up between the Olympia and Prague in like 3 weeks, and it didn't get sloppy. It was like one of those bounces that people dream about, and he took that to stage.
Yes, it was unbelievable to be there. It was quite a scene. The energy was there, was off the charts. It was, part of, when he was on this side of the room, half of the audience was on that side of the room. So it felt like it was just tilting like this with the energy, the excitement and everything. He was, he really impressed me, I gotta say. And I went against him so many years, so I was never looking at any good attributes. I'm looking at the worst I could think of them. And that's what I did when I competed. I'm not looking at the person, and they look awesome, this, and I'm like, I don't like this, I don't like that, I don't like this. So my team was the only team that actually beat him, in the classic division, me and Breon Ansley. Shout out to Breon.
No, you're incorrect about that.
Yeah.
No, you're incorrect about that statement.
For the Olympias, we don't want to.
For the Olympias. That's the only one that counts. Now you've corrected yourself.
Okay.
Now you've corrected yourself.
Time out.
Okay.
Time out.
If you don't know the history,
bro,
just pause it and I'll correct you. If you don't know the history,
because you want to
give me the time and I'll correct you.
You want to include yourself that you saw him.
No, next to his sister. That's okay. That's okay. Just buy lunch for Nico so he can edit that out for you.
So back to Chris. We're gonna go to the board and look at these pictures. Okay, I'm a huge Martin Fitzwater fan. I loved what he brought to the Olympia this year. I look forward to him being back at the Olympia.
Yes.
But with that buzz, when Chris is in the room or Chris is in a show, it's like fat kids chasing an ice cream truck. Everybody wants to be where he is. I wanted him to get to the Olympia so bad. and then watch him put on another 10 to 15 pounds and come in rock hard at 260, 270.
Ooh.
Chris, I wanted him to get on stage.
Oh.
I wanted him to win, qualify,
Let me
and
tell
get
you.
to the Olympia.
Let me tell you some inside stuff that I heard. I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard. He took a photo in his Airbnb, and the fans were so anxious to see him that they was looking for that Airbnb. And I heard they found it. That's what I heard. I don't know if it's true or not. So never. I mean, there were people waiting in the parking lot, waiting to see if they can get a glimpse of him. So it was fans asking me, because I had my little lanyard. They know I'm the ambassador of the show, so they thought I would know where Chris Bumstead is. So they asked me, say, is he coming out? I said, well, the show's about an hour, so he should be coming now. I just kept it PG, I was like, okay, he's coming. So people are outside waiting for him in the parking lot so they can get a glimpse of him. And even the people that didn't have a ticket, they were around back just so they can get a glimpse of the competitors coming in.
Rock star stuff.
Yeah, it was like rock star.
Rock
stuff.
star.
Well,
Rock star.
guys,
The Beatles. The
so
Beatles.
He couldn't. He couldn't do it because he had some speed bumps and some blockades to get past. You had Sean Clarita, the Giant Killer, was going there for that title. You had Martin Fitzwater, who wants to get back to the Olympia really bad. So it came down to a head-to-head battle between these two. Tarek, what did you see?
Well, the first thing I'm going to say is the added weight for Chris Bumstead benefited him. I loved the look he brought. I thought that his legs were bigger. He already has big legs, but I thought his legs were bigger. It made his waist look even smaller. I thought his look as a bodybuilder was a better look than Classic Physique.
And the blue trunks?
The blue trunks, he looked incredible, unbelievable. However, you can already see by these shots, they're not posing. They're not posing, right? They're just hanging there. Look at the size of Martin Fitzwater's quads. And this guy has big legs. He's got big legs, but look at this. Look at the thickness over here on the upper chest. And here is where Chris is going to lose the event. He's going to lose the event here. His arms, shoulders, chest. This is bodybuilding, thick on top, right? Heavy dumbbells. This guy is not dieting to make weight. He's dieting to come in condition. This thickness counts, and he made it count when they started posing.
In a perfect world, that would sound very nice because, from where you're sitting and where I was sitting, I saw two different shows. And I want to mention also the Giant Killer. If you would have some more standout shorts, trunks, instead of this dark one, that might have made your body pop a little bit because it's kind of got a little lost. You look a little naked right here, if you will. So, what are you looking at?
You want to roll tape, Chris, and point this out?
Wait. So this guy's frame and the way he was posing, his presentation, carried him a lot in my eyes because Martin was having trouble posing the way he normally did, like at the Olympia. He didn't pose the same. And so with his color being off, you could see the look on his face when he's posing. Then he got a little situation with his hamstring popping when he went to the back. And so he was just discombobulated. He was not hitting his poses right. He was finding a hard time getting his footing at some point. And so I was just always drawn to Chris. Like Chris is like hitting everything great. I gave a front double bicep to Chris. So go ahead, brother.
And listen, Cormier, since you're not the special Chris anymore, Chris Cormier, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I actually, I wasn't there. The head judge was Steve Weinberger. I mean, he is probably the most experienced of all the judges we have. The guy is the head judge of the Mr. Olympia. So you can stop right here. I don't have a problem anybody giving the front double biceps and the front lat spread to Chris Bumstead. That's where he is stellar, right? I mean, he's stellar on these poses. He could beat some of the top 3 guys on the front double biceps and front lat spread. I one time asked him, what is your favorite pose? He said, Tarek, When they ask for favorite classic physique pose, I hit my front lat spread. He's dynamite here.
Yeah.
So you can give these two poses to Chris Bumstead. The issue is really going to come up on the side shots and the back shots, and then you got the most muscular.
Let's roll forward a little bit, Chris, and you guys pick apart a little bit.
Boom. Nice.
So, again, as much size as he put on from here to the Olympia to here, the conditioning was still there.
Can you go back to the front lat spread? I just want to point out something real quick.
Ooh.
Go back to the front lat spread, the last one. Yeah, in the front.
Yeah, right there. Yeah.
So right here, Martin's right leg, I don't know where people are getting this from, but they're lifting the right leg up. I've been noticing at the Olympia, a lot of the Brazilians lifting the right leg up in the front lat spread. But the conventional way is to grip your toes into the ground, put a lot of pressure on the heel and the toes, and then you get to pull out these sartorius muscles a lot easier. But these people are thinking they need to sort of go like this. So Martin's right foot heel is off the ground in this pose.
So, Chris, can't you you grip those toes and pop the kneecaps out just a little, go them outbound, and that'll pop the sartorius and the medialis and get it to hang over there.
Yes, and you're pulling the right leg to the right, left leg to the left, and then you're gonna get, the definition here. But Martin, his pose, and I'm telling you, this shot right here, I gave to Chris. It wasn't for Martin for me, so I was like, man, this guy's gonna pull it off.
Hey, no doubt. Now, roll the tape. We got Chris here winning the show 2-0 on the first.
Now, I'm giving him side chest too.
No.
Now, Martin's got the legs, but look at the striations and the depth across the...
I'm not giving him side chest.
I'm giving him side chest.
I'm not giving him side chest.
Some people
Martin
did.
has density on
didn't.
the chest, density on the arms, has bigger legs. The thickness on the back is significant.
Yeah.
The quads coming out is significant. The back lat spread, look at the girth that he has here. Chris has a great back lat spread, but look at the girth, right? This is bodybuilding 101 here.
Go back to the last spread. Let's get it into the meat and potatoes of it. Let's see it. So right here,
Hold it.
I was like, Chris is getting it. Chris is getting it. And then I see, he was hitting it a little bit different than I've ever seen it with the way his thumbs are positioned here. Martin did have more definition going down the middle, but I did like the width that Chris was bringing here. And then, you got the third and fourth guy here.
And,
doing their things, but this where all the energy was right here.
I'm going to mention something that Milos Sarcev said, and he makes total sense. He goes, Tarek, I was kind of like Chris Bumstead. I had a beautiful physique. I came in condition, but I didn't have the 3D look, the three-dimensional look to go against guys like Chris Cormier, like Flex Wheeler, like Dorian Yates. When we look at Chris Bumstead as a bodybuilder, and this is why I think he's going to come back, I want to go on record here saying Chris Bumstead will come back as a bodybuilder 2 years from now, okay? He's going to be in his house and he's going to say, the only thing he's missing to become Mr. Olympia is to gain a little bit of muscle. If he puts 15, 20 pounds, he could be Mr. Olympia.
I agree. I also agree that shot right there, that if he was a little more conditioned at that size, it would have been lights out, except for the quads. He needs a little more quads.
I'm just telling you, being there, man, the energy and the excitement of it all, he had all the energy.
I got it, Chris. The guy's a superstar. His aura is incredible. You watch him. He poses. He's the master of presentation. But the head judge cannot be emotionally impacted by any of that. But he has to make an executive decision looking visually of what his assessment is.
But the thing is, though, Terry, he was hitting all his shots perfectly. All the shots that you'd never seen him hit, it was hitting perfectly. My man Martin, I love Martin to death. He knows that. And he was off on most of his poses. He was just off.
Well, we all know Steve's a very emotional guy. He's a big, squishy teddy.
Yeah. You're really gonna get Steve Weinberger to be
And the color was
somehow
off.
emotionally
And
impacted
the thing
by
is,
the audience.
and after the prejudging, he was visibly upset backstage. Martin was visibly upset backstage. Some of it was because of his injury. Some of it was because of he thought maybe the doors open for Chris to win it.
Well, Chris, that was an amazing, amazing event, and the energy you brought to the sport that week was just incomparable. Thank you for that. But now Martin, who really blew us away at the Olympia this year, is now requalified for next year's Olympia in 2025. We're going to talk about his chances and what he looks like going into that when we come back. And we're back, and somebody that blew everybody's mind at the Olympia this year was Martin Fitzwater. Somebody who shocked the world this year, maybe the globe.
With global formulas, train hard, demand the best. Guys, if you want to have a midsection like Tim Wilkins, a six-pack, deep obliques, you need Pro Zero. If you don't want to have a beautiful midsection like Tim Wilkins, then you're going to eat like Chris Cormier and just neglect your physique. But if you want to look good, Pro Zero Global Formulas, train hard, demand the best. Huge shout out to all the Global Formulas athletes. I love the Pro Zero Vanilla is my favorite flavor.
Good job. So here we are. Martin Fitzwater just came out and everybody went, wow.
Oh, man. Martin brought the house down. He had the energy up there. He had the most fire going out of, his poses. He was excited about his chance to get into that first, mixing it up with the best of the best. For the past few years, he's been watching the top champions. I think that was, his coming out party to the world. Like, I belong, I'm here, and I'm going to take advantage of this situation.
It made us wonder, what's your next move? So we looked at him, the conditioning, the size, the everything from when he qualified earlier in the year. Just amazing improvements and brought his best ever to the Olympia stage, which a lot of guys don't. They take their best out of their qualifier and then come in a little soft, a little watery. Guys tried to get too big over the last couple of years.
He's been improving ever since he came from, was it Detroit show?
Yes.
He was like, okay, people thought, oh, maybe he could have been second at some of the shots. Maybe he wasn't hard enough at the night show. And that's where he started to get better. Then he went on to the New York. Some people had him beating Nick the Quick. And so that's where, he was like, oh, but he was a lot bigger. He was, and better. And then coming to the Olympia, like you said, a lot of people, they blow their wad, if you will.
You will.
Forget it. And they're not so good, later on in the year. It happened to me a lot of times. I'd be better, early on and then get to Olympia. Not my best. I nailed it a couple of times, but it's very hard to get that body to repeat. And that's why, I was like really happy to see that for him. And that, to me, that most muscular, man, it was just lights out.
That was
lights out.
Tarek, we tease you a lot about knowing the color of men's trunks going back to 1999. But Chris said something frequently after check-ins that has been off-putting that I still lay awake at night thinking about. He said, yeah, I was at check-ins and I saw Martin and I pulled his shorts up and I was really impressed. Chris?
No, he was in great shape. He wanted to show me his quads, and he wanted to see, hey, I know there's a lot of hoopla about, am I going to make this condition? Am I going to be able to re-peak again? Peak again?
Re-peak, I like it.
Not repeat again, re-peak again. You see?
Oh, that's ridiculous.
You feeling me? Yeah, feeling me?
Just, hey, listen, for future reference, just leave the competitors alone.
And then he showed me his abs. I felt the abs. The washboard was there. And he was proud of that because it's been a long time coming since he had some nice ice cubes here in the front. And that's what you need, that thickness. I harp on it a lot, but it's very important for
Let's go to the wall, Tarek, where Chris talks about fondling poor Martin anymore.
You see?
Well, one thing I want to say about Martin Fitzwater is this. He's a crazy dog, okay? He's a crazy dog. It's like what is the linebacker for the Giants in the 90s? Lawrence
Taylor.
Lawrence Taylor.
Oh, for the Giants,
Yeah.
okay.
He's a crazy dog, Martin Fitzwater, okay? He works out like a beast. He believes he can win every show. He's confident. He went to New York thinking he was going to beat Nick Walker. He said on a live with me and Sean Ray and Bob, I still think I beat him in New York. He's a crazy dog. His mentality is, I'm here to make an impact in bodybuilding. I'm not here to just be a fan. When he came to the Olympia stage, the first thing that I said is, wow, he looks great. Why is Martin Fitzwater such a high prospect? And it's simple. He's got flaring quads, right? The quads come out. His waist is small, right? But more than that, this guy, Martin Fitzwater, he has a quality that we have not seen in a while. He has bubbly muscle. Bubbly muscle. It's kind of round. And that's why he likes to call himself, maybe a little bit of a stretch right now, but he likes to call himself Phil Heath 2.0.
Wow.
Phil Heath, he likes to call himself Phil Heath 2.0. He's not there yet.
All
You're gonna throw it on
Calm down, Chris.
If you're gonna throw it on the table,
Calm
Chris.
down, Chris.
All right.
Calm down. But he's not there. But he does have that quality of having some of the bubbly muscle. So I got to give him credit for that.
Let's run it, fellas, and talk about all the qualities that he's bringing. Okay, the vascularity.
Front double improved from the last show.
Obliques. Now, guys, a lot of guys are missing that density in the upper pec. He's improving a lot.
He looks great. I mean,
Stop
what can
right
you
there.
say? Big arms, big arms.
Go back to that pose.
Look at that biceps.
So one thing I want to get him to understand. Excuse me, there, buddy.
Come on through.
When you're hitting these shots, Martin, you feel like you're into a shot, but really exaggerate the pose. You know, some of these shots when you bend your leg, really bend your leg. You got to be a little bit straight-legged sometimes. If you really put more bend and more separate, like this could be more knee. This can be more knees can be bent. Bend those knees a little bit. A lot of shorter guys, you're not 5'10", you're not 5'11", and you try to pose a little taller. That's a mistake because you don't take full advantage of the muscle insertions and the muscle development that you have. Can take more advantage if you just bend those legs a little bit more. A lot of bodybuilders do that. I love the muscular you brought, but get into some of these poses, really take advantage of those attributes, and that's going to get you a better placing.
So I'm glad you got to touch the abs, Chris. I want to point out as they go around, those are really, really
Right
deep
there.
quality,
Bend those
dense
knees, man.
abs. Oh,
Bend those legs.
okay. Now, stop that. If he pops, okay, when that kneecap pops out, you see all the feathers and striations in that.
Yeah,
that
and if your
quad.
legs are straighter like that, Martin is not going to show you that muscularity. But, he told you, he said, Martin Lawrence, but for me, he's Singletary. Not Martin Lawrence.
I didn't say Martin Lawrence.
Taylor.
Lawrence Taylor.
B-roll the difference between Martin Lawrence and Lawrence Taylor.
But he wants
Just put the B-roll there so we can see how high this man is.
But if you talk, but he thinks he's Phil Heath. He thinks he's
2.0
Jackson. Yeah, and then he talks about being, Dexter Jackson 2.0, that type of thing. So it's all brothers I'm thinking about. So he's a brother.
Yeah, well.
That's my brother right here.
I like the clean look. He's a good comparison against Derek and Hadi. Why? Because Derek and Hadi, they get to, their density is tremendous. And that's why they surpass a lot of guys. He has that density. He has the conditioning, but his waist is still small. So he's got this clean look. My advice to Martin would be, dude, you're on fire. The world is on your hand. Contain the waist. Do not grow too much. Then the waist starts coming out. Now the quads don't look so much flaring. Now the upper body doesn't look that big. Contain the waist.
Yes, when we had him on the live with Dennis James and Meals, I was telling him 1 or 2 pounds, 2 pounds a year, you're gonna be fine. Just bring this conditioning, this physique, and you're always gonna be fine, and you're gonna be improving. You're very young, 27 years old, you're very young in the sport. You don't have to force anything. You don't have to come in 10 pounds, but you don't have to push for 15 pounds in the off season. Keep in shape in off season, bring this back, improve it a little bit, and you're always gonna place well.
2 years, 2.5 pounds a year, that's 5 pounds, and come in with that hottie Cbum conditioning. He's gonna be staying that top 3.
By the time he's 30, he's gonna be a lot more mature muscle, and he's gonna be a lot better, even if you didn't gain that much pounds on the scale.
I like this guy. I believe not immediately, not 2025, but I think as he gets maturity, 2026, 2027, Martin Fitzwater can challenge for the Olympia title.
All right, I got the name. You ready?
What's it?
You said he's in there with Dexter. He's in there with Phil Heath 2.0. He's the White Panther.
He's the White Panther.
The White Panther.
The White Panther.
Not the Black Panther, but the
White
White Panther.
He's the White
I
Panther.
like it.
White Panther.
Book it.
Good job, Tim. Let's make sure he's not Martin Lawrence. That's important.
Make sure the world is not on his hand, but in his hand, in the palm of his hand, not on it.
We're going deep. So guys, we're really excited about his prospects. So he's requalified already after winning Prague.
He is.
He is. So he'll be there, and it's going to be interesting for him to crack that top 3 next year.
Well, but I'm telling you, he's a freak. He's a freak,
A super
like
freak?
my friend Bio Freak from Global Formulas. He's a freak physically, and he's a freak
Turn
mentally.
the label around.
If you want to have a freaky workout, I need you to go right now to www.globalformulas.com. Get your BioFreak right now so you can have monster quads like Martin Fitzwater.
Super Freak OMG. That's a great flavor. I started off with half a scoop, and I got a lot of work done after my workout, too. You call it a pre-workout? I did some taxes. I did some laundry. I think I got the grout
What
in
do
my
they
house.
put in that stuff to make it so?
It was effective. Trust me.
All right.
Guys, what a blast. So, Cbum, Martin Fitzwater, tell us your thoughts on them. What Chris brought to that show.
Comments, man. Leave comments.
Leave the comments, leave the likes, subscribe, and tell your friends about Primetime Muscle. We appreciate you joining us. Man, it flies by.
It flies by, yeah.
Tarek, always good. Chris, good to have you back.
Good to see you, man.
Good to see
Good
you.
to see you, brother.
And as always, great to see you here on Primetime Muscle. Tim Wilkins, we'll see you next time.